One, two, one, two, one, two. Bad Truth is in the building. How y'all feeling? We're trying to get the senator in there. He said he ain't get the text, but Bad Truth, when we back, man, we in the building. How y'all feeling? So as we trying to get it together backstage, I got some new people that I'm trying to bring to the table, and it's finna go down. Just trying to get it all together. Got somebody I want to introduce to y'all, and then today is gonna be really big. I don't know for sure if this is gonna be the podcast times, but for the most part of it, we finna get ready to get back in the air, get back in your face. And so I'm Bear Truth. I just wanted to let you know that we are definitely back. And I'm trying to be very conscious of how I play music because now that Facebook is trying to cut me a check, I don't want to have to split those royalties when you use music and you haven't got the green light from like copyrights. So you know how the last time I was like I had to get the copyrights restrictions and all that type of stuff like that, and so I didn't want to do that. And so first of all, I want to say Happy Mother's Day, and but before we end the show, we're gonna do like a little bit more of on a Mother's Day. And so now I just got to try to, get back into a groove of not sharing the music content with anybody else. And so in the midst of that, while I disappeared for like 2 months, what I did do is I created a new podcast. I'm gonna give you a little bit of a backdrop on it. I was cutting these little young guys' hair, right? And so I don't like to play like cuss words and stuff like that. And when I'm cutting like younger kids' hair, I don't want them hearing like that type of stuff. Because on my DJ title thing, it'll throw me like a new release, and it'll just play anything. So a random song will come up and it'll be talking some foolishness. And so I usually try to play like some gospel rap or some stuff like that. And so the young lady that had brung them by to get their hair cut up, when she heard the music, she stepped on. She was like, "This gospel music." And I was like, yeah. So we got to chopping it up about who the artist was. And as we was like kind of chopping it up, you know what I mean? I kind of found out that, she was God fearing. She was a young lady, but you know what I mean? Her conversation was like super duper smart, like, and the way that she interacts and the way that she talks. And so then she looked and she was like, "So you do podcasts?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And so she was like, "I'm trying to get into podcasts too." She was just like, "I'm trying to figure out what I want to talk about." But one of the things that stuck out to me is like she was like, "I got the story that I want to tell." She was like, "I need people to hear my story." And so sometimes, when you run into some young people, sometimes, they've been through something and it's like they got that old soul. Have you ever met anybody and you be like, "Damn, they got an old soul, like really wise for they like years." And so as we was chopping it up, it just I don't know if it was the Holy Spirit or just, I'm a very creative person, but it just seemed like ideas just started popping out. And I started thinking like to myself, we should do a podcast. Because I was looking for a way to revamp the podcast. Like I knew if I set the scenery up and maybe have guests over here, do the full body thing, that might be something that might be kind of dope. You dig what I'm saying? And it might bring out some more people. And so I was thinking like, okay, let's maybe do something like that. And so then I got to thinking about, her maybe jumping on the podcast. And so she's young though, you know what I mean? So I was thinking like, okay, so where we gonna go with this? And so, our little sister's like about 23 years old. I mean, she's gonna introduce herself. I'm gonna bring her in, I'm gonna let her introduce herself. But then I started thinking like, when the podcast give me my views or they tell me like people that's watching, um most of my viewers are like ladies, and they're like in their like 30s, like 35 up into the 50s. It's like I got a fan base. And so my 40s to my 50s, that's the bulk of it, because that's our age group. So we chop it up because we on that level, and they be want to hear what I got to say. So that's where it's interesting at. So I started thinking like, man, shorty being 23, she could probably bring some light to the table. And so we started brainstorming some names, and we came up with Bridging the Gap. And so what we was gonna do is we was gonna do like a podcast where we're gonna try to bridge the gap, and we're gonna try to get some of these young people to try to understand some of the old school perspectives, because sometimes we try to give them knowledge, sometimes they accept it, sometimes they don't want to hear from it because it's like they think that they smart. And I know how it goes. I was there. That's how it used to be when our moms and our pops used to try to tell us stuff like, you just don't want me to have no fun, or you trying to like run my life. And so I got the senator, I got the state representative, he just popped up backstage. So when I was thinking about bringing her to the podcast world and her doing it, it's just like, she's super wise, she's super smart. So why not give her a chance to speak for them, and then let me speak for, like the parents, and then let's try to bridge the gap and bring up some issues and some stuff that we could talk about that a lot of people would understand and be able to relate to. And then, because it's like sometimes we as older people, we need to be able to feel them. We need to have our ear to the streets. We shouldn't block off how they feeling and how they thinking, because they growing up faster than what we did, and they're a lot smarter than what we were. And so a lot of times we get stuck in our ways, or we get content, and we be feeling like we don't want to listen to them. And then they already kind of hard headed. Some of them is hard headed, and they don't want to listen to us. And so if we bridge the gap and we start talking to each other, I think we're gonna have a conversation. And so, Bear Truth, I want y'all to show her like love, you know what I mean? Because she's gonna be my co-host. Where the day we pick out, I think it's gonna most likely be a Sunday, because me and Local Los got something coming on Fridays. We're gonna do Sunday, and it's gonna be called Bridging the Gap. So I'm gonna bring in my little buddy Tamia, and then I'm gonna let her introduce yourself. Little sis, where you at? Hold on. I clicked her in and I clicked her out. Hold on. There she go. Little sis, what's going down?
Not
Can
much.
you hear me? So what are you doing? You in the car?
Yeah, I can hear.
Okay. Yep.
Yep, I'm in the car. I'm just.
That's what's up. So,
It's cutting.
you could be anywhere. That's maybe the browser that you probably linked in on. Or can you hear me now?
Yep. Okay.
Okay. And so sometimes you have to be conscious about the different browsers. I was just having that conversation with the AI generated help. We did that where we had guests before, and then sometime it'll be, let me turn my volume down on my mic, but it will be like staticky, or it would cut in and out, and it'll be the browser that you use. So like sometimes you have to use like a different browser. But just for the most part of it, introduce yourself and kind of tell people, a little bit about your background, and why you want to be in podcasts.
Yeah. Well, I'm Tamia. I've always just been passionate. That's really why I want to be in podcasts. I'm a talker. I'm a yapper. I got wisdom. Yeah. I mean, right now I'm just working, just trying to make a way in the world.
Right.
It's hard out here. I'm young. We just trying to be somebody. So
And how
yeah.
old are you right now?
I'm 23.
Okay. So yeah, you definitely represent that age bracket where I ain't gonna, how they say the word YN, but those is
Yeah,
the young guys like
for
right
sure.
around your
Yeah,
age. Yeah. And so
that's the exact
um
age group I'm in.
when you say you trying to make a way, sometimes, it's hard out here for everybody.
Mhm.
But then again, in this new world where y'all coming up, I felt like you would be able to bring a lot to the table, because you can be a voice for them, you know what I mean, in a positive way. And plus,
Of course.
you God fearing too. I like that.
Yeah, God is the key. In my head, God is the key to everything. God done got me through so much. God is the reason I'm here on this podcast today, is what I believe. So,
Hmm.
I believe that God definitely aligned our paths for a reason.
Right.
So, you know, just like you were saying.
Yep. And I think it's going to be helpful. Today is just a pilot, so we got somebody special that's in the background. I met him like about a week ago. We was at church, and Pastor Livingston, he gave this guy the mic, and he said he was the state representative. And when he talked, he was telling us something that just kind of like pricked my heart about these laws and about the decision to get out to vote. And so I thought that it would be best that we would kind of co-pilot, get a chance to come together, get our little energy together, get some practice, but then talk to him. Let him say what he got to
Yeah.
say, because I think young people need to hear this. I think older people need to hear this. And that's a gap that we definitely need to bridge. We need to bridge that voting gap. But they need to hear what he got to say about these laws and be conscious, because me and you being, I'll say black African American or whatever they want to call it. I got some
Mhm.
commercials that I want to play of this one lady. I'm gonna play it for y'all a little bit later, and I want y'all to speak up on it. But state representative Ken Crokin, when he spoke last week at church, I was like, I got to meet this guy. You know what I mean? I had to meet him, and I was telling some people about him at a party last night, and they was like, "Dang, you know him? You talk to him? He looked so unapproachable." And I was like, "Nah, he's cooler than a fan." You know what I mean? He's cooler than a fan, and he agreed to come on here. And so you said you got a few questions that you're gonna bring from your perspective. I'm gonna bring a few
Mhm.
from my perspective, and we're just gonna kind of like let him do his thing. I'm gonna play this little commercial for the people who did not see the commercial, and then we'll bring him in. All right.
All right.
Let me see. Yeah, it's this one. Okay, where's my man Ken?
Here.
Ken, Ken, what's up, man? Huh? He was in. I mean, this button is so sensitive that when I pop it in, okay, there you go. It's really saying it's really sensitive, and so when I pop you in, and then it popped you back out. But how you doing, Senator? I mean, state representative. I was about to call you Senate. I think he froze.
Yeah.
the
It's the
the
browsers
the
that be wrong.
technology is amazing, huh?
Yeah,
It's it's the audio is a little dodgy. It's a little spotty, but the technology is kind of amazing. I was worried we weren't going to make it here, but here we are.
yeah. And you know what? I know how to fix that. Like sometimes we have to go out and come in on like different browsers. Like some browsers are
Sure.
better than others, and that's a whole bunch of stuff that we can fix. But I can hear you, and so um,
Good.
uh, I really wanted to get you on here today because I definitely appreciate what you said last week. And I was trying to do a little commercial that says state of emergency that would kind of give people an idea of what's ahead of them, what's about to happen in
Well,
June.
yeah. I I I think we are on an emergency. I think we're at a crisis, and
Hmm.
you know, America's original sin, race, seems to always come back and bite us in the backside, doesn't it?
Right.
Um, April 20. Well, I'm an old guy, and I remember 1965, and I remember uh, police beating the hell out of voting rights marchers in Selma on the Edmund Pettus Bridge, and dogs attacking them, and it was the age of Jim Crow, and black people were being denied their voting rights. And then 5 months later, President Johnson signed the Voting Rights Act. And, I thought, okay, problem solved. We're okay now. We figured this out. And here we are, 60 years later, and on the 29th of April, the Supreme Court threw out what was left of the Voting Rights Act. Um, we are going to see a dramatic decline, I believe, I fear. We're going to experience a dramatic decline in the number of African or, well, brown and black representatives in the Congress. There's 67 African Americans in Congress today. That's about the percentage of African Americans or people of color in the country. So,
Right.
okay, that's pretty good. But now they're going to redraw all the boundaries for the districts, and take all these black representatives out, um, that's not going to end well. That's
Right.
not going to end well for anybody. And I'm deeply concerned we're going to go back to the Edmund Pettus Bridge and see people beating the hell out of each other.
Right.
I don't want to go
Right.
there.
Now, listen, one thing I want to say to that, just on what you said, on one of the reasons why me and you are definitely on the right path to bridging the gap is because your generation don't understand that. Now, even when he talks about the bridge, I was too young for it, but I seen it. So
Yeah.
I caught some racism growing up in like junior high, high school, and we see it. But now, it's so ever since Obama won the presidency, that it's white people that put him in the office too. And so we
Mm-hmm.
kind of think like, okay, we winning in race now. Like, okay, like it's not like that too bad, but it is. And it is bad. Now that he said that, hey, my auntie Diane, she tapping in and she from Texas. When you say that, I wanna play something for you, Ken, and I want you to listen to this lady and to what she says, and then I'll speed you up, Mia, on what I was trying to go with this right here because
Yeah,
what
because
okay.
I
Mhm.
also have a. Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm gonna show you this video, but hold your thought. I'm gonna show you this video, and then I want you to tell me what you got to say. Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Check this out.
Just to offend. Did you hear about the four big bills that just passed the Iowa House? First one that we're going to talk about is the three strike rule that Iowa now has. So, and it's basically like a 3 point system. So basically, in Iowa, if you commit a felony, 1 point. If you commit a misdemeanor, half a point. If you get to 3 points, that's an automatic 20 years in prison, no questions asked, free ride on the bus there. Which I think is great because Iowa needs to be putting public safety and the victims first. We shouldn't be allowing habitual offenders back on the streets just to offend again, just for somebody to die. Like, that should have never happened and it should not be happening. And I am so glad that Iowa passed this and is going to start enforcing this. Next one being affirmative action. And I know this is going to ruffle a lot of feathers. But in the state of Iowa, you are going to be hired based on your qualifications and your merit, not the color of your skin. Sorry. And that should have never been a thing in the first place. Like, should have never even happened.
Okay. And so, Mia, you said that you
I,
couldn't
I
hear the video.
yeah, I
Yeah.
couldn't hear it either.
Nope.
Okay. I wonder, like, see, now what they did is they upgraded our this whole system. And so I'm wondering, let me see, did anybody hear it on the that's live? Like Auntie Diane, if you live, did you hear the video? Did you hear the sound to that? Let me know. Tap in and let me know if you heard it. My Auntie Diana, happy Mother's Day. And so what she was saying is she was saying that she's happy that they passed the three strike bill, right? And so she says, if you get a felony, that's one
Oh,
point. If you get a misdemeanor, that's a half a point. But if you get up to 3 points, then what I was reading, they were saying that they was trying to get it for 20 years, but what they actually did is they got it for like 7 years. You're gonna do the
a
minimum.
half a point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you're gonna do the minimum mandatory of 7 years. Now the viewers, they can hear it. Y'all couldn't hear it on here, but the viewers can hear it. Yeah, they tapped in and said that they can hear it. Now, part two of what she was saying, Mia, she was saying that the affirmative action. So now she's saying that, hey, um you're no longer going to be hired because of your skin color. You remember how certain jobs had to hire like so many African Americans, so many Mexicans, they had to hire us. Now she said they just wiped that out. So you're going to be hired based off of your skills and your qualities. And
Mm-hmm.
she says she's proud, she's happy of it. And then the video was so long I couldn't get it
Oh,
all.
they
But what
can.
she
They could hear it.
okay, they
Okay.
can hear it. The
Well,
guests,
you're
the audience could
absolutely
hear it.
right. Arnold,
Go
can
ahead.
you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. Go ahead. I was giving you a chance to go to say what you was about to say.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Hmm.
He can't hear. I don't think he can hear us. We can hear you. I hate this new one. We're gonna have to work it out. But okay, let me
Yeah.
go back to what they were saying real quick to me. She was basically like saying that she was happy. Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he's going in and out. He's going in and out. I think he's on the wrong browser.
There we are. I'm back.
Hey, Ken.
Okay.
Can you
Something
hear
just,
us?
something, yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you I
Okay,
think
good.
yeah, I think it's maybe
Um,
where you're at. I think it's where you
Everything
probably is at.
froze, and then all of a sudden it came back. I got a note that said the internet connection was, I don't know, some, who
Yeah,
knows?
so wherever you're at, your internet connection probably went off.
Oh, I've got a good internet connection here at the house.
Okay.
So I don't, who knows?
Okay, so
Um,
let me tell you
but
what she was trying
you're
to say,
right.
Ken.
You were right about this three strikes bill. Um, uh, it's, um, it's mandatory minimums, and I'm opposed to mandatory minimums under any circumstances. You know, the word judge is a noun and a verb. This is why we have judges to sit and look at all the circumstances and decide what an appropriate punishment is. We don't need a bunch of legislators in Des Moines, in our case, sitting around deciding that everybody needs to go to jail for 20 years. That ain't right.
Mhm.
And we the Democrats were able to knock that down from 20 years to 7 years,
Yep.
but that's not right. You know, a half a point in this wacky system could be a weed violation or a kratom violation or, something like that. Uh, it could be some kid who's just making the same mistakes over and over again. I believe it or not, to me, it doesn't believe this, but believe it or not, Tamia, I was a kid once and I made a lot of stupid decisions. And, you know, I was given a lot of second chances. And, God help us, it's because I was white.
Mhm.
And I think we know that.
Yeah.
So, uh, we've it's it's bad. Three strikes is inherently racist because in Scott County, Iowa, we incarcerate young people of color at a rate 9 to 10 times higher than white kids.
Okay, now time out. Time out real quick, Ken,
Mm,
because what you just said, we from the
mm,
community, we know that. We know that.
Yes.
But how many of y'all are listening to what he just said? He's giving it to you raw. Like, so if he's telling you the rate that they're getting locked up at and reason why he caught a break because he was white. So if you a parent and you have a child of color, they said he only got 3 chances to get it right in life, and if he don't, we're gonna go sit him down. We're gonna go sit
Hmm.
him down for like life. And so we got to start having these
mm.
conversations. We got to start talking to our kids. We got to start talking to our young boys. And
You,
it even starts with Tamia, with Mia,
Yes.
like her age.
So I
Tamia
have a
does not
question.
make bad decisions. She's
I make
she's
a
not like
lot.
that. No.
So I actually have a question for you, Ken.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
So with you saying how um, people of color are 9 out of 10 times to be incarcerated more than people who aren't of color. My question is, with kids my age having to worry about that on top of everything else that's going on in the world right now, um, what advice would you give to young minorities who feel like their voice doesn't matter, their vote doesn't matter when it comes to voting?
Well, I'll tell you this: your vote doesn't matter if you don't cast it, and that's why one of the points I'm trying to make that I tried to make at the church last week. The
Mm-hmm.
bugs have found me here. One of the points I'm trying to make is I, I hope, I believe, I I I am truly committed to the belief that we have grown up as a nation, and it's not a matter of people can't understand. I think we can understand. Arnold, you said this a few minutes ago. Ever since Obama, there's been an awakening in America. And, you know, I grew up around a lot of African American people, and so I see them differently than I think a lot of white people my age might, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and when, you know, I found out at some point that in black families, at some point, people sit their kids down and have what is called the talk.
Mm-hmm.
The talk doesn't happen in white families.
Right.
And so I guess to me, to answer your question, we need to keep up the talk until our kids look back at us and say, I don't know what you're talking about. But most most do. It just it's not right.
Right.
Yeah.
And so let me ask you this from your perspective and what you see going on with the politics and what's going on with the state. Where is your fight at and what are you planning to do to try to, reverse it or help it to move along?
Well, um, I've introduced a lot of legislation to address some of these issues. You know, before I was in the state legislature, pardon me, before I was in the state legislature, I was on the county board of supervisors here, and I fought like we spend I don't know how many millions of dollars building a great big juvenile detention center. We didn't need a juvenile detention center. We need programs that help young people avoid the need for juvenile detention,
Amen.
you know?
Amen.
Hey,
Yeah.
look, I'm not stupid. There are people who need to go to jail.
Right.
There are bad people or whatever they are who need to be in jail before they hurt anybody else or hurt themselves. But that's not most of the people, you know? Most of the people, and I shouldn't say most, but many people in the Scott County Jail today have not been convicted of a crime and will never be convicted of a crime. They're in jail because they were arrested, they were charged with a crime, and our bail bond system is inherently discriminatory against people who don't have money.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, rich people get arrested, pay bail, go home. Poor
Yep.
people get arrested, go to jail.
Yep.
And
Mhm.
there they sit. And what's
Yep.
really odd is that it would cost a whole lot less money if we figured out how to get people home instead of paying to keep them in jail.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And I like that because I'm gonna tell you something is one of the things that we did like when we was all in the county jail, it goes back to like public defenders not really wanting to fight and making guys cop a plea, making them take the plea. Like you said, they just built that big juvenile system. They're gonna put people in there. They need to people
Mm-hmm.
put people in there to make it pay for itself and
No
to
one
pay
wants an
workers.
empty jail. Yep.
No. Yep. And that's how that goes,
And
And
now
so
our jail is so overcrowded that
Mhm.
we're sending people to, well, certainly to Illinois, to Wisconsin. We're sending people all over the world because we don't have enough room for all the people we're
yeah,
incarcerating. The United States incarcerates more of its minority population than any other country in the world. What the
right,
Mhm.
hell is wrong with us?
right.
So I want to kind of like ask for the young people. So with knowing this, I feel like the first step to fixing something is identifying the problem. The problem has been identified, but it's like my question is what do you think can be done for younger minorities or the young people to have faith in changing? Like, what do you think can be done to change this? Or basically we saying that there's no hope, there's
Hope.
no, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're saying. The problem is 250 years old this year, and I'm sure it doesn't have a quick solution, but again, the most effective thing we can do is vote. Vote for the people who understand the situation.
Right.
Um, you know, we vote for judges. We have retention votes. Um, who, who knows who these judges are?
Right.
Who has any idea how they perform as judges?
Right.
Um, uh,
Prosecuting
I'm
attorneys.
running for election this June, and I'm afraid that people don't know what I stand for.
Right.
Uh, we've just got to pay more attention than we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Um,
get.
Eh,
ag- Again, I just published a paper a couple of weeks ago about kratom. The I think kratom is probably not a good thing for most people, but criminalizing it is not going to help.
right.
Yeah.
We need to regulate it. Um, we need to offer people treatment if they're abusing it. Um, but instead, the solution in Des Moines is let's make it a class 1 drug like heroin. Kratom today is the same as heroin in Iowa. So
Mm.
if you're 19 and you're caught with kratom on you, you're going to be charged with a felony. Well,
Hmm.
that's 1 point on your 3 point ride to 7 years of incarceration. It's
Ooh.
it just doesn't make sense.
Hmm. And also, well, a lot of young people don't know this information. They're not educated on these things. So I also want to say, like, what's a good way to bring awareness to these things or educate people my age on these topics and these laws? Because yeah, they're going to experience the consequences of the laws, but
Mm-hmm.
they might not even know them beforehand.
Yeah. Well, I think you put your finger on it a few minutes ago, Tamia. Uh, People get so hopeless.
Hmm.
I don't know what the numbers are, but there are so many black families that have one or two members of their family were incarcerated.
Yep.
What
Yeah.
the hell is that?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Um, I think it's like considered hopeless, inevitable. It's
Right.
gonna happen.
But you know something,
Um,
what you saying, Ken, I mean, I totally understand it. And I'm gonna tell you, this is how I felt when I was like a teenager. Going from
yeah,
18, I didn't know if I was gonna make it to see 21. Then when I got
right,
21, I didn't know if I was gonna make it to see 25.
yeah,
And
Hmm.
your biggest fear is you're not really thinking like, okay, you think about being successful, but one of the things that's in a black man's mind when he's young is how can I stay out of jail? How
right,
can I not go to jail? Because
yeah,
it's going to be different. If I go in this same courtroom and I'm charged with the same thing that maybe a young white guy is charged with, he can get probation and I can get sent to, I can get county time, I can get prison time. And we knew
right,
that. And to
Hmm.
me, I think that you're hitting on a point. I think that's why bridging the gap is probably going to be
Yeah.
good, is because we have to talk about these things and we have
Yeah.
to get people
mm-hmm,
informed. And I think we have to find out a way to meet face to face, and because people are more prompt when they see you and they see your personality and you talk and you can shake
Hmm.
hands with people and stuff like that, so
well,
yep.
And you know what
let's
I
let's get together. Tamia, get the gang together. I'm sure Pastor
Livingston.
pastor would give us the church to have a
Mhm.
meeting and talk about these things.
Right.
Yeah,
We've got to get active.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
And I think it all comes down to just like you saying, you growing up, you didn't know if you were gonna make it to 21. My little brother, that was his same thing. He dropped out his senior year. He didn't know if he was gonna make it to 21. There's so many other things that um we go through as
Yep.
minorities growing up that I feel like people may not understand. And I feel like it all comes down to generational trauma, just like you having that mindset, him having that mindset. It's all about, I feel like it needs generational healing. I feel like,
Yeah.
and that's the time period we're in right now, is a time period of healing, I feel like.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I feel
And
like
and did you see what
as
she
a
was saying in
community,
affirmative action? Like now they're not gonna hire so many, you know what I mean, just based on
Yeah.
like balancing it out racially, like saying, hey,
Yeah.
give some people a chance, you know what I mean? Give some of these
Hmm.
mhm,
guys a chance because we know that we could possibly have a supervisor or a manager that's in
yep,
here
Yeah.
that might have come from like a racist or maybe just a prejudiced background, but he's
mhm,
Right.
still working his job. But it's just saying, hey, give these guys a shot so they can have some hope and say, I got a shot at, getting on at an Arconic. I got a
Yeah.
shot at getting on at John Deere where I can make some
yeah,
good money and I don't have to sell drugs. I don't have to go out and try to do something stupid. I can kind
exactly.
of feel good about myself and provide for my family,
But
So
No one wants to
really,
live like that. No one wants
no.
to be looking over their shoulders all the time and, wondering if there's a policeman watching them
Yeah. Yeah.
mm,
It's real.
I had
It's real.
a good friend. I don't just made me think of it. A good friend who's passed now, but she was black, and she said the one thing that always made her really mad was going into a department store and being followed.
Hmm.
mhm,
You know what?
Yeah,
Not
and and it
right.
and it's sad because we thought, like, to me it was saying that we was healing, but it's
mhm.
it's really real. We need like generational healing
Yeah.
within
As a
our families
community,
and our cultures and our
yeah.
communities. We
Yeah.
need healing, and so
But
I
you
think
know what?
think that's
It's
something we can work
really
on.
hard. Yeah,
Go
100%.
ahead.
But it's really hard to do that also when there's so much poison still being thrown in the mix. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying?
Hmm.
Yeah. So
Yep.
it's like, and I feel like that's where that resistance comes
Hmm.
from, and that's where it's like we have to be more proactive, and it
Hmm.
comes
Right.
down to education and awareness and a lot of things that Black communities are stripped of.
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
as Arnold said before, uh, Mr. Obama, there there are white people today who get it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure there were that many of them in my parents' generation, certainly not in my grandparents' generation. It is getting better. Generations have passed. And
mm,
one of the points I preach a lot of is look to your friends, look to your allies. You do have them. The African American community does have allies, and you need to find them and you need to work with them.
Yeah.
They want to hear you.
Okay. And
okay.
so I like what you said, Ken, about getting with you, linking with you, and like she said, let's be proactive and let's do something because this is something that I like to fight for. These are issues that I can beat the streets on going and talking to people, shaking hands,
Right.
and bringing knowledge to them. Now
Mhm.
give it to us because it's Mother's Day, so we don't really want to hold you, but we
Oh
want to let
yeah, happy Mother's
we
Day.
yeah
Yeah.
to
Yeah, happy
everybody. But
birthday.
but we wanna you to kind of like fill the people in on when they're voting and what are the
Oh
things that's
yeah.
going to be taking place when they go vote and why it's
Sure.
important.
Well, the first election is just a couple of weeks away. June 2nd is the primary election. Um, the Democrats and the Republicans will each have a primary. I have an opponent. The U.S. senator is probably the biggest race in Iowa. Josh Torek and Zach Walls are running for the Democratic nomination. Um, there's a couple of other races, but they're not contested, so there's no choices. But people need to go out and, read about me,
Mhm.
read about Zach Walls, read about Josh Turek, and decide who's going to be the best bet for your community. And
Right.
and I'm sorry, I don't really know who's on the Republican side. They have a bunch of governors, guys who want to be governor on the Republican side. I know that, but people got to make decisions, and I would urge everybody to consider voting early because
Right.
an awful lot of effort is being made to suppress voting. People are being kicked off the voting rolls when they think they're on it.
Yeah.
So don't wait until election day to find out you're not eligible to vote.
Right.
Right.
Get out
So
there and check it out. Yeah.
we just got to work harder. I hate that's the solution, but I think that's the solution. We got to work harder.
But
And when
anything in
it
this life
comes
that's worth
to
having is you have to
You
work
bet.
hard for it. You have to work
exactly,
Yep.
hard for it. Yeah.
Yep.
What was you about to
and
say, Mia?
when it comes to voting, Ken, like when it's time for people to make those votes, what is something that you want us to understand about you?
Well, again, take that three strikes vote. Who voted for it? Who voted against it? What
Hmm.
about the bill? I mean, we passed a bill this year um, that eliminates the obligation. You, to me, you're too young, but after the George Floyd murder in Minneapolis, everybody rushed to the state capitol and passed a bunch of laws that would diminish the possibility of something like that happening in Iowa. Well, one of the things we passed was an obligation that all law enforcement officers needed to take a racial sensitivity course. They needed to understand what being African American is like and all that sort of thing. Well, this year we eliminated that obligation. There's no more requirement that Iowa law enforcement officials take racial sensitivity. Why the hell not?
Right.
Right.
I mean, maybe that's what's working.
Yeah.
Right.
Um, they've been quoting a very wonderful Supreme Court Associate Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who said famously, "You don't throw away your umbrella just because you're not getting wet."
Right.
That could be what's keeping us
Hmm.
in the right direction. So you
Hmm.
don't get rid of it because you don't. This is like
Right.
garlic and vampires. You know,
Yeah.
you you know,
But
you know.
I think of it like this, Ken. I think of it like this. If the suggestion was made and it was something that was trying to take a step forward to try to relieve a problem, you
Yeah,
give it the best effort that you have to give. You know what I mean?
right.
Because anytime that you can sit down with somebody and try to understand somebody, communication is always it. A lot of times these younger generations, they're not understood. And I was
Hmm.
talking to this manager in an interview just the other day, and he says, "What's one of the things that you think that you would have to like work on?" And in the job that I'm at, some of these young guys, they kind of like childish and they play a lot. And so me, I'm more serious, but I had to understand like, okay, who are they? What's going on in
Yeah,
their life? Why do they do what they do?
yes,
Instead of sitting back judging, oh, I'm gonna hit you with the
yeah,
judge stick, or I want you to feel like I feel, or we automatically assume everybody is like us. Everybody
right.
didn't grow up in the same house. Everybody don't have the same set of standards or morals. So sometimes you have to get together to communicate to know what you're dealing with. So then that way we can
Yeah,
agree to disagree, but we still have to understand each other. We got to live
right.
with each other.
Walk a mile in my shoes, right?
That's
You know
it.
what I
Yeah.
think?
What you think?
I I think when it comes to communication, communication is how humans understand each other.
Hmm.
That's what softens the heart.
Hmm.
That's what helps us to become more unified. But I think now with technology and social media at an all-time high, it's affected communication when it comes to my
Hmm.
generation, as well
Okay.
as COVID. Everybody became more isolated, so we are lacking in the communication department. So
Okay.
now, rather than understanding, it's more discourse. It's more chaos than listening to understand, which is what I used to always hear growing up. I don't really hear that anymore. It's me
Right.
versus you
Yeah.
more now than it is understanding and being more educated. I feel like being educated is kind of going down in a
Mm-hmm.
sense in my generation. Um, yeah, and I feel like it has a lot to do with communication.
Right. And so
Well,
I think, go ahead.
you're a very smart woman.
Yeah. I told her that.
Thank
That's the
you.
reason why I paired. That's why I
Thank
paired up with
you.
her because for her to be so young, she speaks with wisdom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that me and you will possibly be able to do now that we got him on
Hey,
here,
girl, I got
Mia, I
allergies.
think that we not only the podcast, but like he said, we might be able to get with the pastor and get the church and maybe do a bridge in the gap conference. You know what I mean? Where we
Oh,
can
I
take
like
Mhm.
that.
so
Yeah.
many young people and so many
Hmm.
older generation, and let's come and let's try to talk. You dig what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Invite them out, bring them out, and say, "Hey, we want to
Hmm.
communicate with you. You know what I mean? We want to
Well,
talk."
I'm in. I'm
Okay,
in.
okay.
So, Tamia, that's a better picture of you. Whatever you just did, that's better framing.
I
Vote
think
for
my
me.
camera's dragging out or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
gonna
better.
leave you with a request to vote for me.
Okay, and
You have my
we're gonna be
okay.
supporting you, and I'm gonna stay in touch with you, Ken, and we're gonna be supporting you. She got your number now, so she can reach out and bother you too if she need to. You
Oh,
know
I
what I
hope
mean?
so. I
Yep.
got yard signs, I got door knocking, I got lots of stuff. So, I hope the African American community turns out to vote whoever they vote for.
Mhm.
But I hope they vote for me.
Right. Okay. Well,
You have my vote, Karen.
and listen, and it was nice talking to you, man. And I appreciate you so much, man, for taking time out your day to come
Oh,
hang out
you
with us.
bet.
And man, we're gonna stay in touch though, for real.
Okay.
Have a good day,
Hey,
man.
you take
Thank
care,
you,
guys.
Ken.
All right,
Nice
Bye,
right.
to see
Ken.
you.
Okay.
Bye.
Nice to see you.
Now, so Tamia, I was trying to get him off. He's off. But
Mhm.
so I like some of the ideas that you were saying. So now it just seemed like we probably got like another little mission that we can do. We can
Mhm.
possibly, you know what I mean, not just do the podcast, but we have to do some brainstorming. We'll tighten up the podcast, make sure that we're on the same browser so we can kill the static issue. But
Mhm.
we also might want to do that because that communication thing that you're saying, you know what I mean? Because I have ideas all in my head about how to reach them. You know what I mean? I got a man to man uh nonprofit organization that I wanted to do. I just got done finishing my speech. You are valuable. That's geared
Mhm.
for the high school students. And so I want you to help me, you know what I mean, kind of maybe turn that into like an event. I got some other people on deck.
Yeah.
But brainstorm and think of some things that you can come up with that we might be able to come and try to bring both communities together, both generations together,
Mhm.
and say, okay, I'll try to get some of these guys out, some of the guys from the barbershop, from the beauty salons,
Yeah.
some brothers and some sisters that really love our community, really love. I got cousins, Yo. I know she's definitely willing to come. There's so many of them that I can reach out to,
Yeah.
and I can get them in one place, and then you get some people and get them in one place, and let's just sit
Mhm.
down and have the conversation. I think if we bring some food, they definitely coming. You know what I mean?
Hey,
But
it's
people like
warm.
to
Bring
eat.
some food. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it'll be a hit.
And yeah, and even if if sometimes when you go to like a church building, it kind of might make it feel like, oh, they're trying to get us to try and so
Yeah.
we'll talk about that though too, because God don't need no help with you doing this and that, you know what I mean? But
Mhm.
if we can get him in a situation, we're gonna give him the glory anyway. So
Exactly.
regardless of what they talking about, we're gonna give him the glory. So at the end of the day, he gonna be glorified. But I think it'll be dope. um So before we get out of here, because I'm finna go get my mom something to eat.
Mhm.
I just want to say Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. If you lost a mother, man, God bless you. Keep your head up high. If you're a single mother out here doing it on your own, God bless you. Keep your head up high. And I just want to say from the bare truth, I love y'all. Happy Mother's Day. You got something you want to
Happy
say?
Mother's Day, y'all are all the mothers are appreciated.
Hmm. And
Hmm.
I swear it don't matter what race you are. We this ain't just a black thing. I mean, we talk about black, brown, Asian, white. I don't care where you at. If you gave birth, that means that God gave you an opportunity to be a mother. So happy Mother's Day.
Hmm.
Um, Real quick, I just want to say like a little prayer because I was reading through some pages and stuff like that, and I seen something. You know what I mean? And then I went to a really special funeral of somebody that was really special earlier this year. And so I just want to close this off in prayer, and I'm gonna let you get on about your day. Okay, you cool with that?
Yep, let's pray.
Let's do it. Heavenly Father, we come boldly before your throne of grace in the precious name of Jesus Christ. I'm thinking about Shura today, you know what I mean? And so Lori reached out to me the other day, Lord, because she hadn't been on her Facebook page, and she checked it, and she just wanted to say thank you for cutting the kids' hair and stuff like that. And so I know as today, as she think about Mother's Day, she's missing her daughter, and these kids are missing their mom. You know what I mean? And those is my little buddies. And so I'm asking you to wrap your arms around them, give them a spiritual hug from heaven. And just, at this time when it's Mother's Day and they should be celebrating their mom, they can't. I just want to say that, hey, we love them, and that, we wish them the best day that they can possibly have. I went through somebody's page today, and I think that she just buried her mom sometime like last month. And she's a really cool person. And we chop it up, and I didn't know. I just looked through the page, and I just seen that she had lost her mom. So I just want to say, hey, lift her up. Anybody else that just lost a mom, bury a mom, whether it was last month, last year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years ago. Mother's Day is very sensitive when you don't have your mom. And so for those of us that still have our mom, let us love on our moms. Happy Mother's Day to our mothers, to my auntie Marianne, Betty Joe, my sister, my niece, my daughter Nubia, just to all of my friends, Jada, Alicia. Happy Mother's Day to her, Mama Mona, just all the beautiful ladies that's in my life, all of my aunties, Geneva, all of my cousins. It's too many of them to name. I ain't gonna do that, but I just want to tell them Happy Mother's Day, man, and that you appreciate it, and thank you for what you do, and just thank you, Father, for trusting them with the kids. And nobody is gonna become a parent unless you give it to them, And so we just give you the honor and the glory for what you're doing. In your precious name, Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Okay. So, little buddy, this was all right here. I think you're gonna be all right in the podcast world. You dig what I'm saying? You're gonna be all right
That's
in the
all I can
podcast world. Yeah, because you show asking some nice little questions, and you wasn't scared to talk to me. Now, here's one of the things that I do. Like when I don't drink alcohol. So this is like non-alcoholic, like little like cider and stuff like
Hmm.
this. And so I'll always have me something to drink. So if you see me say turn up for Christ and burn up for life, that's because I don't drink no more. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And I don't drink no alcohol. And I've been blessed ever since stayed away from liquor and drugs. And
Mhm.
so I just want to give him the glory on that I don't drink no more. So that's one of my like little originals that I stay saying. And so I look forward to us. We'll chop it up and we'll figure out, like, if it's gonna be Sunday, what time we're gonna do it. I know it's Mother's Day, so the views is gonna be off, but they'll double back and they'll watch. They'll be checking me
Okay.
out like later on when they get some time. And so now you see how the videos go, how I showed the little video and stuff like that. We can do
Hmm.
that. So man, do your thing, be you, and I think you're gonna be all right.
All right. Hey, I appreciate the opportunity for sure.
Yeah, for
For sure.
sure, for sure. I,
I
I
wanna
I knew
say
it was gonna
that.
work. I knew it was gonna work. And then you see now we didn't went from bridging the gap to the podcast to possibly like doing a meet and greet, like a community meet and greet or
Hmm.
something, to where we can really like bridge the gap, because that's
God is
it. Like you
working.
said, you need action, not just talking. You need action. And so we got to get people in the same building and start, I don't give a care if, and then not just for voting, but just on real life issues about these guns,
Hmm.
about these drugs, about the way we treating our women, about
Yeah,
everything,
we
about the
gotta bring awareness.
messages, the messages that you sending to the younger guys. You young, what they call them YNs. I don't know where that came from, but okay, I get it. But
Probably
at the
TikTok.
yeah, but at the end of the day, okay, you a YN, but what about this toddler who's 5,
Mhm.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, who's looking up to you, because you do know
Mhm.
that y'all are the role models. Because we looked up to our role models, and they showed me how to sell drugs and how to be a womanizer. So, and
Mhm.
that's what that's gonna do, send you straight to prison. You
Yeah,
see what I'm
and that's
saying?
real.
Yeah, and so I think we definitely need to do something like bridging the gap and stuff like that. And so if you
I
got anybody, like if you come up with a good topic and you need to bring a guest on, you just let me know. We send them the link. And you got any videos you want to share, you just let me know.
All right, and I know a few people who do a lot of good things in the community, so
Okay.
we'll work.
There it
We
is.
gonna make the shake for sure.
And then you got to learn how to work this, because I'm not computer savvy. And so you know how you
Yeah,
showed him and I get in here. I'm gonna have to give you the password so you can figure this out.
yeah,
Okay.
because I can definitely figure out the technology stuff out.
Okay. Yeah, that's why I need you on board, no doubt. And so listen, have a blessed day. Get around your
You
people and love
too.
on them, man. And then we'll keep in touch.
All right, happy Mother's Day again.
Yeah, not to me though. I'm a
Not
father.
to you, to the
Next month.
audience.
Oh, okay. My father. So you talking to the ladies? I was about to say, hold on, I'm a man.
Yeah.
I ain't no transgender. I'm just playing, because
Oh,
somebody would take that the wrong way.
no.
But yeah, no, I'm just saying. But listen, have a blessed day. Love on your family, and then we'll get together and chop it up and try to figure out where we're gonna go with this, and then we'll come up with our next show. I think what you
All
was
right.
talking about yesterday is dope. Okay.